First, on behalf of the City of Covington, I'd like to welcome each and every one of you here this morning, our community leaders, our education leaders, our council, managers, all of you folks. Thank you so much for being here. There are a lot of folks that are with us this morning that probably have no clue about STEM and what we've been doing here in this community now for going on for 2 years. Yeah, going on 2. We're close. So, real quick, this all kicked off. This young man here, Matt, met in our office one day, and we chatted about some things, and we approached our school system, and some of us are yet to be denied with moving forward, and we worked out with Matt, and Matt introduced us to Cindy. Cindy happened to run across Alan Dressler at Virginia Beach, and with her husband, and here we are. We are so tickled to death where we have got with STEM programming in our community. I want to highlight this young man right here, Jimmy. We started a public-private relationship. He submitted an idea, we liked it, so we're growing tomatoes and peppers and all that good stuff across from our middle school, and we thought it was a cool idea to work with STEM and get, we get it. You're always going to have a valedictorian or salutatorian, but we got some that just sitting inside those 4 walls, so now they figured out that they can go across the street with this silly thing called smartphone and control air and water and all these things in a greenhouse and raise these problems. So we went from there and worked with Cindy. We've come to our beautiful Discovery Center. We thank, of course, the Alleghany Foundation and Dr. Lincoln Hoker and all those wonderful folks for getting us where we're at here. Now we have 30 kids.
We've had 50 come through here.
50, okay. So, and we're doing things with our hands from electricity to building blocks, all that kind of stuff that they're aching to come back for more and more and more. We need the community's support, okay? The local government, Covington, Virginia, we got it. There's some shortcomings along the way. We're not going to let it fall, at least as long as one of us is still around. So that's taken care of, by the way, effective July 1st. And so we're good. It's important that we continue this program working with our kids, our school system. And I'm just tickled to death with the relationship that Matt and Cindy and I have developed through the years, last few years. Cindy loves Covington, Virginia. She enjoys coming up here. She is a little closer to her son who is at the University of Virginia Tech. Some of y'all heard that before, that's all right. So, but anyway, she enjoys coming up here, enjoys working with Jimmy and the fun things happening at the greenhouse. And from me personally, I'm just excited to see where we're at just in the last year and a half plus, and look forward to what the next year and a half is going to bring, and working with our kids and these fine folks with BTARC. So with that, again, I thank you, and you're here for all the right reasons, because you are community leaders and involved in our governments and our local businesses and so on and so forth. And it's critical that you folks have a buy-in to tell your next door neighbor, you got to understand what they got going on around here. Okay? So very good. With that, to Mary. All right. Pass over to Mary, please.
I get to follow Alan and add my welcome to all of you for being here. It's lovely to see an active full room on this Monday morning. And there are so many people in the room that have been so important to this project, and many of you are hearing about it for the first time. So I want to add a few thank yous and ask some people to raise hands as you come through this process, so you'll have, here's my point person for something to learn more about. So if this is all new to you, I hope it'll be something you're excited about. But I want to open by saying, as a foundation and on behalf of the Alleghany Foundation, it is sometimes the case that you get an application and you think, where did this come from, and how did this come to be? And this one happened to come from this group in Northern Virginia. What do they know about Alleghany County and the City of Covington? And are they just looking for money and not really substantive, right? There's this underlying skepticism that sometimes surfaces, and being very transparent, it was really high, maybe higher than any other application I can remember reviewing in the last 15 years. And so with a lot of skepticism, like, yeah, prove it. Okay, you sound good, but I don't know. They sent a team to come together that I just have not seen many like in my many decades now of community-based work. And I want to single out somebody at the helm who's Cindy Ramboyong, right beside us here on the stage. I tell people I don't know many project managers more capable than Cindy, but what is amazing not only about her project management is the fact that she was a chemistry teacher in high school. She understands the SOLs, she understands advanced placement, she understands teaching. And as a teacher, she's really tried to embed the work of what students need in the applied setting that Alan mentioned. And as someone interested in education and as a mother of children who've all learned in different ways, the notion that hands-on learning is a portal to reading, writing, and arithmetic that we love, as opposed to drill and kill. But there are those who love to drill and kill and keep on going. So I don't believe in one method fits all, but for the kids who really need to see something happening to then understand why is it important, the STEM work that I've been watching going on, both in Jenny Hogendogler and Adam Kenny's work across, and Charlie Wiley's place across from the middle school, as well as this building, is really cool. So Cindy is our leader, and she is supported, and I met Hannah this morning. All of you from Virginia Tech who worked on the curriculum. Can I see a show of hands? I know Hannah's here to see you for today.
They're all busy on other projects.
That's all right, you can, we really appreciate it. I mentioned VTARC, our leader is in Northern Virginia, but the curricula people are down at the main campus in Blacksburg. So we're really glad Hannah could be here to represent us. As community partners, Jimmy, and with a lot of support from his wife Honorata, has taken on this brave project, and I wanted to single him out because he's wanted to work with the schools and do education and expand community connections from the time I met him and he started talking about this project. So if you haven't met Jimmy, introduce yourself, talk about with him what he saw students doing. But I'm sure you're going to hear some of those stories from Cindy, but it's just so cool to see firsthand how all that has come together. And then I'm going to talk about, they found their way to the Discovery Center, and the foundation is another proud supporter of a project that volunteers have done amazing things with. And I'm going to ask Mike Wade to wave his hand back there. If I'd had Mike Wade as a physics teacher when I was in high school, I might have had a different career. But in this room, I'm looking across as to one of my favorite exhibits, which is the huge pulley, and then this sort of simple breakdown of how you can play around with it and see what a pulley really does. So hands-on learning is embedded in this Discovery Center. You're supposed to be able to look at historical industry, engage with the present, and look to the future. So I invite you to play around, see stuff, and if you're curious about it, go see Mike. And if you want to volunteer, go see Mike. We need more creative minds doing more good things. I want to thank the Historical Society and its leadership for making this whole place come together. The City of Covington has stepped in this year and is now the driving force and owner of this wonderful complex and really supporting it. So I want to thank Alan for being at the table all the way along, and just especially on VTARC as well. A couple of more thank yous. I want to thank the board members from the Alleghany Foundation. Several of you are here, past or present. If you'll raise your hand. I just want people to know, go talk to your board members and talk about what things matter, because we are all supported by community members, and it's great to have feedback on a project like this one. And then I see some school board members. I want to thank the school system. I was looking also for Kim.
They'll be here in a minute. They're on their way.
They're on their way. So we do things in our community that sort of are on the fringe of blending academics and community-based work. So having a school system open to trying new things. I mentioned school board, but we have the teachers. Show of hands for any of you who've been our great middle school teachers who took the lead and took some risk and really have made it drive. And then one more group is our steering committee, and I know Cindy will talk about them, but I was talking to Jill beforehand, Alan's on it, Diane. The steering committee members, Josh, thank you, have really, I think, taken this idea and done new things with it. And just as a bit of PR, Jill, if you'll raise your hand, if any of you know a rising 8th through 12th grader, they're doing a cool paper project that's partnering with NC State starting tomorrow morning. So it's tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday morning. There's still a few slots, so y'all are the best word of mouth. If you know about it, please join us. And then a final thank you to Diane Garcia and Keely Lohman, who's on vacation this week, for really stepping in to do all the organizing and keeping our list moving and being a great team to work with. So thank you. I know that's a lot to start with on a welcome, but I'm going to thank all of you and ask that you see each other as resources about this project and what we can do next. And really appreciate everyone being here.
Before, a shout out to these teachers, because today, particularly here at the Discovery Center and our agriculture things, is because of you folks. And we appreciate your buy-in. We really do. We were in prayer mode in the very beginnings, and you ladies stepped up to the plate. And I want to say, on behalf of, I think you're enjoying what we're doing. It's making learning fun. So anyway, thank you. Appreciate it very much. With that, all your show.
All right, let's get talking.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a lot of stuff we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk fast, but try not to talk too fast. Let's see. Okay, so the first thing I want to do just quickly is you hear VTARC, you hear VTR, Virginia Tech Applied Research Corporation. Who are we and what are we about? Yes, we're from Northern Virginia, but that does not mean we don't care about all of the rest of the state. We have offices down in Blacksburg as well, and we are a nonprofit organization. And one of our key tenets is service, ut prosa, from Virginia Tech, to do good, to spread service anywhere and everywhere that we can. And that's how this project came about. As Mary and Alan both mentioned, Matt Wolf is here. Matt Wolf is in the leadership of VTR. If you have questions, if you want to know more about what we do a lot of government contracting, we do applied research. This is only one small thing about what the corporation can do. Matt is going to be your resource today if you want to talk more about that, or you can always email me and follow up with me to talk about other opportunities that we have and things that we do. Okay, what is STEM next door? You guys hear this term and you hear us talk about it, but what does it really mean? STEM next door was born of the idea that even in rural communities, STEM is all around you, right? Up in Northern Virginia, I can go to any street corner and I can see 3D printing shops, I can see drone companies, I can see government contractors everywhere. Down here, you don't get that. But that doesn't mean there's not STEM everywhere. The building next door, it has solar panels. That's STEM. This room is filled with the most amazing STEM. This building is like my dream come true. Right? So the goal for this project is to show the youth in this community that they can do STEM, and it does exist, and it's an opportunity for them. They can go do it in college, they can go do it as a trade, and they can come back and live in the community that they love. That's the goal, to bring them back, to continue to revitalize Covington, and bring it back to the heyday that it once was. Not that it's not fabulous now, but we hear the stories of what it was, and we're going to get you there again. That's the goal, okay? So, as Mary mentioned, we're funded in 2 ways by the Alleghany Foundation and the City of Covington. We are eternally grateful to both of them for believing in this project. We also have a number of partners. We have Virginia Tech, College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, the Center for Rural Education, Liberal Arts and Sciences. We're going to be adding the College of Science. Spoiler alert for what comes next at the end. And we also have Alleghany Highlands Public Schools, and obviously Wiley's Garden Center, who has been a huge partner from day one. There are 5 key components to STEM next door. I'm not going to go too in depth because you're going to get to hear about some of them as we go through rotations. The first is the middle school curriculum. And that's what you've probably heard the most discussion about. And those are the lessons that we co-built with Virginia Tech. And those go into the classroom. The goal there was to reach 100 students at Covington Middle over the course of the last academic year. We exceeded that by reaching 100% of science students at CMS. The teaching staff, these amazing teachers, embraced the program so much it went to all the grades and ag science. Every student at Covington Middle School is now getting place-based hands-on learning. That means not only are they learning STEM, not only are they learning the science curriculum as required by the state of Virginia, They get to see it applied. They get to go over to Wiley's and see those plants that they're learning about. It's absolutely amazing. Our middle school enrichment takes place here at the Discovery Center. What better place to spur your imagination? The middle school enrichment is designed to bring technology into Covington, into the Alleghany Highlands. And I say Covington because I'm used to coming right here into Covington, but please know we need all of the Alleghany Highlands. Clifton Forge, Lowmore, Iron Gate, we need all of it. So when I say Covington, it's synonymous, and I'm working on changing that to say Alleghany Highlands. These technologies, 3D printing, computer-aided design, Arduinos, electronics, a lot of these words might be like, I don't know what those are. But you know what? They're being used at the Garden Center. They're being used in industries and companies all around the Alleghany Highlands. You might not see it, and the goal is to teach your students what it is so that they'll see it and recognize it, and they can continue to use it and apply it. So we started in middle school intentionally. If we can get kids engaged in STEM in middle school, when they get to high school, they can take all of the learning that they've had and they can apply it. The capstone projects that we designed for high school are intended for students to give back to your local community by applying interdisciplinary learning to projects that better the environment around them. So those Arduinos and 3D printing and computer-aided design, as our middle school students come up when they get to high school, now they can use all of those technologies in the capstone projects that they do. So now, when you have the dentist next door who says, I wonder, how much am I saving with my solar panels? These students who came through STEM, I see that as STEM. You know what, Dr. Wheeler, I'm gonna help you. And we're gonna see how much money you're saving. Should you get more solar panels? What if the Discovery Center got solar panels? How can we improve the environment? How can we save money? What does this look like? Their opportunity to give back while applying math, science, their computer technology, all of those things into a single project. And it's fun for them. It's new learning opportunities for them. We also have teacher development, because look, none of this matters if we don't upskill our teachers who are offering these lessons and being a part of this curriculum. And these teachers, I was very afraid they were going to be voluntold, and they actually volunteered. It was the first question I asked them. Were you volunteered or did you volunteer? And when they said they volunteered, I couldn't even take that as a simple yes. I said, why? Why are you volunteering? I expected people to be voluntold. And they said, why would we not? I mean, they're truly amazing individuals. So we brought them down to Virginia Tech last summer. We gave them a 2-day immersive experience where we took them to see local STEM in Blacksburg so they could see what it was we were talking about and asking them to do. They were able to take that experience and apply it to their local community, and they can now incorporate those into their existing lessons. So the goal is never to ask our teachers to do more work. It's to help our teachers do their work better, and hopefully we can ease some of the burden because we're creating new lessons so they don't have to. And then it will make it seamless. Once they offer it the first time is always the hardest, then in subsequent years it just becomes a part of their learning. Sustainability. And then our advisory committee, which Mary mentioned, is the most incredible group of individuals. I don't know how I got so lucky. We meet once a month. We talk about what STEM Next Door is doing, where could we expand, where are other opportunities, who might be good partners. So where we started and where we ended is in part from the program design, but it is more largely because of that advisory committee. Their responses, their action, their activities has taken us to where we are today. So all that sounds really fancy. But what did you really do? All right, middle school programming. As I said, we had 654 students at the middle school because we had all of science and we had ag science. Okay, so those numbers, you might say, we don't have that many kids. You do have that many students because we got them across different disciplines. We have 7 middle school teachers offering place-based lessons. Again, this most incredible, you guys all deserve little halos over your heads right here in this section. And we had 2 community-based field trips where they could apply the actual learning from their classroom to something happening in the community. They went over to Wiley's Garden Center, so they signed their field trip form, they went down the stairs in Covington Middle, across the street, and they were at Wiley's, no bus needed. We also took the students to the water treatment plant, where they got to drink the water, they got to learn about the process. In both of these situations, people called me and shared stories about students who couldn't sit still in the class. We've all had those students. If If you're a teacher, you know exactly who I'm talking about. They go on these field trips, they're locked in. This kid who you thought you needed an extra chaperone for is now the one asking the questions and engaging. That's the power of place-based learning and taking them out of the classroom and putting them into the community. So that's what I say. What did our teachers say? Our teachers said 100% of their classes saw higher student engagement with STEM programming. 86% of students had greater curiosity and questioning. Instead of saying, oh, when am I going to use this? Because every kid says that. If I hear that in chemistry class one more time, my head is going to explode. I'm like, you're breathing air, you're using chemistry right now. These teachers, they didn't have to answer that question because the kids saw it. They're like, I get it. And we asked the students, we gave them an opportunity to write their own response to the survey, their feedback. They told us what was happening and why they were enjoying this experience. Our students said, you get to see it, you get to touch it. I said, did you like it or did you love it? Right? We had 68% said they liked it or they loved it. We had another 30% say neutral. I don't know what that means in middle school and I regretted making that an option. I realized I don't really know what that means. I think we only had 3 students who said I didn't like it because I didn't get to go. Okay? So it's having an impact. They're seeing it, they're enjoying it, they're embracing it. The goal is to keep that momentum going so that we can reach even more students. It shouldn't be limited just to science. Okay? Now we said, if we can do this in the classroom without overtaxing our teachers, how can we do it outside of the classroom? Again, it is never intended to add to the work of our teaching staff. So we said we want to do after-school enrichment. And originally it was planned to happen at the school, and we realized that was putting an undue burden on the school, on the teachers in their classroom, on the faculty, on the support staff at school to have a space and to manage the supplies and to do all of that. And when I learned about this building, my head exploded. This is incredible. I've been to many science museums and science centers. That shouldn't surprise you, right? I'm a STEM nerd, but this one is incredible. It has such a special place in my heart because it was built by the community. The love in this building, incredible. I want your students to see it and experience it as often as possible. I would have them in here every day if I could. So this picture is from upstairs. If you haven't been upstairs, there's a makerspace with 3D printers. There's a paper making station upstairs. This picture is from upstairs with one of our support staff, which is Kayla Montgomery, who helped take care of our 3D printing. We had 50 students come through and take CAD and 3D printing after school programs. They signed up to come after school to do more STEM. When they released the sign-up sheet, we said, go ahead, you guys can sign up however many you want. They didn't even have to send it out to families. It filled up in 3 hours. They had 50 students sign up. We only have room for 24 each session. We have one teacher right now offering after-school enrichment. The goal is to have multiple after-school enrichment programs, and we have built out more, and you'll hear about them in the session, but we just did one during this first year of a pilot. After 9 weeks, so after the first session, we asked students, how do you feel about STEM? Do you want to do more? What do you like? 11% of students had seen CAD and 3D printing before. That's it. By the end of 9 weeks, 100% said, sign me up for session 2. And after 18 weeks, every student that filled out the survey said, I would tell my friends to take this too. That's how much they enjoyed it. We got messages from parents that said, my kid wants to go to school because they want to come to this. And if you don't come to school, you don't get to come. Right? So there was a question that was posed to me, well, what do you do for getting students to come for attendance? Can they miss a lesson? They can absolutely miss a lesson. This after-school enrichment, it's okay if they can't make it. But what we found is the opposite. Students come to school so they can come to this. That's the power of these activities. And you'll learn more and you'll get to experience enrichment when we do the breakout sessions in just a minute. So, we get to be engineers and scientists in a few minutes. High school capstone. The high school capstone program, like I said, is this interdisciplinary project that's designed to let high school students show everybody what they know and apply it in a way that helps your community. It's about giving back. There's a service component to this. We have 5 students who completed our pilot capstone this year at Alleghany High School. one incredible teacher that had the faith and trust in me to give it a try. So she is here. I want her to raise her hand. Miss Reed. And I also have to shout out Jimmy, because Jimmy was the capstone sponsor for this first project. The students looked at the greenhouse at Alleghany High School and said, what would it take to automate this? So that we can have things growing and we can produce and sell what we grow without us having to be here on snow days. Nobody wants to come out just on a snow day. It's a freebie. You stay in your pajamas all day. I don't want to go water plants at the greenhouse. How can we automate it so that our plants will survive and we can still have that fundraiser? They did a project, they worked with Jimmy, they learned about technologies and how these new technologies, CAD, 3D printing, Arduinos, how can these help our greenhouse? We have 6 new projects already scoped out and fully planned for an implementation of capstone in the fall. So it'll be a longer session so that we don't have to, we had snow days, which is why we had a pilot session this year. Half of our capstone season was snow days. So next year we're going to start it in the fall, so we don't have as many snow days to interrupt. This is one of the places, Alan mentioned, what can you do? We're looking for people to help sponsor these projects. And when you come to the capstone session, you'll find out what that means and what it takes and how rewarding it will be with very little work on your part. So don't say no just yet. What's the impact of capstone? 100% said they gained confidence in sharing their work. Why? Because at the end, they have to tell people what they did. They have to stand up and they have to speak in public. And you know what? It doesn't matter if they do a good job or a bad job. Spoiler, they did a fabulous job. But it's the fact that they can stand up and convey their learning to an audience, which is huge. It's a life skill, and they're going to need it no matter where they go. So we want to give them opportunities, safe opportunities for that. We also saw that they had an increase, they had increased interest in STEM, but they learned how it could be useful to solve real-world problems because this was a real-world problem. We're not making stuff up here. Capstone is a real thing. It's meant to make something better, to make a difference. I mean, I could have come up with 100 projects, but we kept them applicable and we made them relatable. It improved teamwork and collaboration because nobody does capstone alone. They have to work together and they have to rely on each other to get to that final product by a certain day and a certain time where they're going to have to share it with someone else. And they also felt like it was meaningful and engaging. And you're going to talk and see some of our students when we come over to the capstone presentation. Okay, I'm almost done talking, I promise. Teacher development, again, I can never commend these teachers enough. 2 days at Virginia Tech. 9 teachers were upskilled through STEM Next Door this year alone. So that's 7 science teachers, a capstone teacher, and an enrichment teacher. And we have 3 teachers attending the Virginia Association of Agricultural Educators, the VAAE conference in July at Natural Bridge, and there'll be a session all about STEM Next Door. And because it's very important, these teachers who stepped up deserve to get credit. All of their names are on the screen. If you see them and you know them, please make sure you say thank you to them. And then our advisory committee, this incredible group that Mary mentioned before, it's represented Alleghany Highlands Chamber of Commerce with Josh. We have the Alleghany Foundation. We have Healy, who you all received your invitations from, and Mary. We have Alan from the City of Covington. Diane Garcia is our education consultant and host extraordinaire. She put all of this together today for you. We have Jill Shiflett from Ingevity, Seth Bradley from Alleghany Highlands Public Schools. So we have perspectives from as many aspects of the community as we can. If you want to get involved, this is another great way to reach out and say, you know what, I think I can help you make a difference here. We would love to have you be a part. We meet once a month. It's super fun and engaging, can't you tell? And we just talk. That's it. I'm not asking for any, I ask only for 1 hour a month. I don't ask you for any other time. I don't ask you for any money, any resources. I just want to pick your brain because you know this community. And the whole point of this program is that it speaks to you and your community. It doesn't matter what my lived experience is in Northern Virginia, that's not your lived experience here. And that's the point of the advisory committee. Okay, just broader influence. So beyond the project itself, we did notice some impacts of STEM Next Door that we didn't anticipate. One were the local partnerships. This community gives and gives. I have never met a more engaged and willing to give group of people in my entire life, ever. And my career has spanned many, many different areas. Anybody I ask about STEM Next Door, The answer is yes. Yes, please. How can I help? What can I do? The Discovery Center opening its doors and saying, you know what? We're in. We're 100% in whatever you need, and they have never said no. Ingevity, I asked them about teacher training. They said, you know what? Bring your teachers over. We'll upskill your teachers. We'll offer a professional development day just for your teachers. They want a tour, we'll give your teachers a tour. I asked Ingevity about Capstone. Absolutely. They did not back down once. Mountain Gateway Community College, we wanted to take our middle school students on a walking tour so they can see the plants they learn about in class. Absolutely, done. What day do you want to come? We'll take you. You want more people? We'll get more people to take you. The City of Covington, can the students go see the water treatment plant? Yes, ma'am. When do you want to go? Not only when do you want to go, how can we make it as applicable as possible? I sent them the information of what we wanted our students to learn, and they catered the field trips to the students. So 6th grade and 8th grade got different experiences, which means those 6th graders can go back in 8th grade and learn more. And I can tell you based on their reviews, they all want to go back. They want to go to the mill. I said, where else do you want to go? I want to go to the paper mill. One kid said they want to go home, which was fair. I don't blame you. I probably felt that way too. But 80% of the kids said, I want to go to the paper mill. I want to see what's happening there. They know it's here. Open the doors and show them. That's how you turn that light on, where they come into this place and they're like, wait, I can see waves over here and I can see ears over here. Yes, please. They have to see it and believe it and have that experience. And then Wiley's Garden Center, again, never said no, has said yes to everything. So outside of the community, we also have seen engagements, and this is what happened at Virginia Tech, and then I promised I'm almost done. At Virginia Tech, I said, hey, I'm doing this project, stand next door. They say, can I help? I said to someone else, I have this project, it's really cool, have you been to Covington? What can I do? So, aquaponics, which, does anyone know what aquaponics is? Okay, Jimmy knows. Okay, so aquaponics, so we're gonna grow your water instead of soil, we're gonna have some fish and some plants, it's going to create a whole ecosystem. They came here and they said, we built a game and we want to test it in your community. Does anyone want to earn $40 to play our game and tell us if it's good or not good? Virginia Tech could have gone to Redford. They could have gone, I don't know, out in Blacksburg somewhere. They came here. We also have NC State coming up today to offer a 3-day camp for free to any rising 8th to 12th graders who want to attend here at the Discovery Center from 9 to 12 for 3 days. Hands-on, fully engaging, awesome program. If you know someone or you think you know someone, I have a couple printouts up here. All they have to do is scan the QR code and they can register. Like I said, it's free, and I'll send them all the information they need to be here tomorrow morning at 9. So please pick one of these up if you know anyone, a neighbor, a friend, anybody, okay? All right, now you're gonna get up and move because some of you are yawning, which I'm just gonna take it to Monday morning and not that way. Okay, so you're gonna rotate. You'll notice on your name tag you have a sticker. The stickers are color coded. So green, you're gonna be in a capstone with me. Blue, you're gonna stay right here. You're gonna learn about curriculum. And purple, you're gonna go into the classroom and do some engineering and building. Okay? You're gonna meet for about 15 minutes and then we're gonna rotate. You'll get to visit each of the 3. You get to walk around while you do that. And then we'll come back here at the end and we'll talk a little bit more about what it looks like moving forward and how we make this stick and something that can continue to grow in the Alleghany Highlands. So when you look for your space, can you step to the left for some other space? There's balloons. The blue balloons are for the blue dot for here in curriculum. Capstone is going to be in this middle room. You'll see some green balloons. We're in the back. And purple is going to be over by where you signed in. There's a classroom on the right, which is the actual classroom our students use for enrichment. You're going to head on into there. If you don't have a sticker, pick whichever one speaks to you the most to go to first. And then you'll rotate to all 3. Is designed for your community. It doesn't have to be a company. It doesn't have to be a huge project. It can be anything, okay? The way it works, this capstone is designed specifically for you, but it's based off a concept that we do in Northern Virginia with our seniors. Our seniors actually end school 4.5 to 6 weeks early, and they take on a capstone project at the end of their senior year. They don't want to go to class anyway, right? So when AP tests are done, they're they're like, you know what, instead of skipping school every day, do something good. And they do this project for 6 weeks that has to give back to the community. And I thought that's such an amazing idea, but maybe we could get them before they're on their way out the door. So in this capstone, we're allowing it to be anyone in high school, but we tend to do sophomore, junior, and senior. It's interdisciplinary. We want them to have enough learning that they can apply all of those things to whatever project that they do. We have 6 projects, like I said, for next year. Jackson River Preservation Association helped design a project to look at the water. What's in the water, and how can we report that data to someone? Ingevity has a tool in their lab that sorts particles by size. So imagine you go to the beach and you have a little filter and you do this, right? So Ingevity has one and it's set up and maybe it moves like this. Well, they got a new tool and it moves like this. And they need to set it up to get the same accuracy as the first. I'm oversimplifying just to make sure that it's clear to understand, okay? So they said, hey, what if the students learn how to use this new machine and fine-tune our settings for us? It's still STEM. It might look a little different. They're not pouring chemicals in the lab, but it's still helping them see what would it be like to go into STEM. We have Alleghany Outdoors who said, you know what about adding geocaches? We've had geocaches here before. Why can't we build out a system? How can we make it something people want to come to the region to do? So just because you're in an outdoors company doesn't mean you're not doing STEM. Right? We have Wiley's Garden Center who wants to create new print labels. How can we create new print labels that better convey the information, that cost less, and are exactly what we want? I bet a student team could do that. So these projects, we have capstone sponsors. You think of an idea, or you decide, you know what, Joe has an idea but doesn't have the time, I can help. All you have to do is reach out to me. And you say, I think I want to do this. And then we'll help design the project. I'll actually write it all for you. No English paper for you. I will document it all for the students, send it to you, and you say, that's not what I want them to do, or that's pretty good. I sent it to Ingevity and they said, let's make it a little better. And we changed this and we changed that and used more of the terminology they wanted to use. Boom. Okay? So then you're going to meet with this team. They're going to actually ask you questions. The onus is on the students, not on you as the sponsor. It's a learning experience. They're going to ask you, why does it matter? That's where I really want you to sell, though. Science is important. STEM is important, right? That's the whole point. And that they're helping their community. Those two equal level for capstone. And then they're going to ask you questions about the project, and then they're going to do it. You're not doing their project. We are not doing their homework for them. They are going to do it. And you know what? They might get stuck. And they're going to have to ask you for help. And they're going to have to say, wait a second, I don't know how to do this. And you're not going to say, here's the answer. You're going to challenge them. They have to solve it themselves. Because when they leave school, that's what life is like. I have my own 3 kids. And they were like, I can't wait to adult. I want to be an adult. And now they're adults. And they're like, wait, send me back. They're like, I have to cook dinner for myself every day for the rest of my life. I'm like, girl, what did you think was going to happen? Right? So these projects are opportunities for them to learn and build the skills that they're going to. And then at the end of capstone, so like I said, we're going to start in the fall, and it's going to go throughout the school year. We'll have a big capstone celebration. So imagine the chairs and the balloons set up probably at the Discovery Center at a high school or someplace community has decided is where we would celebrate the best. With food and snacks and everyone saying, great job. Because they went outside of the box and did something they didn't have to do. And they helped their community and they learned at the same time. And we want to celebrate that as success. Even if they didn't solve the problem, it's not really about the problem. It's about the experience of trying to solve the problem. Right? So that's the whole idea behind capstone. That's what it looks like. The lift on you hopefully is very little. You can do it in person. They can call you. You can do a little video chat, whatever you prefer. When I worked on this project with Ingevity said, you know what? They can actually come test the machine for themselves. And I mentioned this to some people and they're like, wait, what? Yeah, look, go. You don't have to. And as I said, next door, I think it's Dr. Wheeler, right, the dentist next door. If you wanted to find out about the solar panels, great project. If you wanted any chemistry ideas, anyone wants to sponsor a chemistry project and you don't have ideas, I'll give you any number and you can sponsor that project too, right? The whole idea is just to be creative and give them an opportunity. We have two students here that actually partook in our capstone pilot at Alleghany High School this year. So our two amazing volunteers to come talk. And I just wanted to give them the opportunity to tell you about their experience, but we're going to do it English, right? Okay. So let's see, on a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate your capstone experience? 5 is good, 1 is not good.
A 4.
A 4?
Because of the lack of time.
Because of the lack of time. Okay, perfect. Honestly, in a high school realm, 5 is like 100 stars. You just okay, so perfect, excellent. Would you do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this was not a part of your regular classwork. Is that correct?
Yes, not
So you took on extra. Okay, I'm gonna say kudos to you. You didn't have to do that. Do you have any regrets? No. Do you recognize your project sponsor in the room? Can you point to him? There you go. That's right. So as a project sponsor, I'm putting you on the spot, Jimmy. How was it working with the high school students?
Oh, actually, I was worried when I went into it. You know, I was a high school student once, and I know what my attitude was like. So, but no, I think that they all wanted to fix the problem actually before I ever showed up. They want to grow great plants for the teachers and STEM. And so I think honestly, they were very invested in how we did that. And once I showed up, they wanted to help them. They were all ears. And took my guidance, you know, when I could give it. When I asked for something, they returned it, you know, which was pretty amazing. So yeah, no, I think they did awesome. And I heard, I wish I could have said it on the presentation, but I heard, because I warned. I said, Cindy, stuff money, and we all better be ready. And I heard that they did a wonderful job, so I was really proud of it.
That explains the comment on the survey. I asked them for feedback and free response, and one of them said, the presentation's not that bad, she's kind of nice. So I think I'm the shame. That makes sense. Okay, so that's good. So yeah, I do have to say that this team put together probably a 20-minute presentation walking me through the beginning of the project all the way through their solution. Their presentation was amazing. They rotated in and out seamlessly. A 5-person team that worked well together. I didn't see any issues on my end, but I know from my own kids, teams can be deceiving, and you know, there's always a slacker on almost every team. I didn't see it on this team. So, do you feel like working in a team was beneficial? Yes. And did you feel like everyone contributed? If not, don't tell me that. Did you feel like okay, perfect. I don't want to know if people didn't contribute. In my mind, you guys all did it wonderfully. So, we talked a little bit earlier today about capstone ideas and projects that I had mentioned. If you look around your community and you think, wow, I really want to do something with this, what would you, where in your community do you want to do more or be?
What the mill puts out.
The mill? See, I told you guys, I didn't make that up. Everybody wants to know more about the mill. They want to go in the mill, they want to see the mill, they want to take part in the mill, which I think is so cool. Okay, all right, let's see. So let me ask you, do you have questions? What more do you want to know about capstone, but also you can ask anything.
Is the mill not willing to engage? Because you didn't mention anything about small areas.
You know what? They've been a tough nut to crack so far. However, they have reached out recently, and so we're looking at how can we engage. Ingevity has stepped up beyond. This is huge, actually, development, so I'm glad you asked that question. When I worked with Ingevity and I talked about capstone and what I saw as the ultimate vision, they said, we can actually offer some training to your kids, and Ingevity has offered to bring capstone students to Ingevity and do their training that they work with their staff with our capstone students. So they get an immersive experience on problem solving and working together as a group. And Ingevity will offer it for free to the capstone students. They can go over there, they just have to set the day. So usually when the community partners hear about what we're doing, they step up. I just haven't had that connection yet with the mill to be able to make that headway.
And I'll add to it, I think the transition that we've gone through made it a little bit slow. And I think, as Cindy said, I think a lot of things are changing as we speak, and a lot of different conversations are happening. They weren't happening before. So I think Smurfette is definitely needing a little more. Well, they were in a transition as an MMA, so I think it took a little time.
I will say that we also helped the Alleghany Foundation Foundation create an intern program for the summer. So I didn't create it, just helped them get started to mimic what they do in the New River Valley, where interns get a community experience so that not only do they have the work experience they come here for, but they learn about the Alleghany Highlands and why they might want to come back and live here and actually take a job here. And the Mill did participate in that. And they did let their interns fully immerse in that program, which was a good first step for us to bridging those relationships and helping us work together. So, yeah. Yes.
How are capstones assigned? Are they, I know you said you have 6 that are sponsored right now. So are they just put out there for students to choose from? Are they all going to be assigned, or are they just options that are available?
Very good question. So the way we envision it is that our satisfied capstone customers tell their friends, and then we have more capstone students who want to participate next year, and they say, oh, if I had to pick my top 2 projects, it would be this one or that. And then based on their responses, we'll put them onto a project. No student would ever be asked to do a project they had no interest in doing, right? Like I don't want to volunteer our teachers. We're not forcing capstone on anyone. It's an additional experience. The benefit of doing it in their earlier years of high school, like these gentlemen did, they could put it on their college application or on a job application, right? So it's not just, I did capstone. I learned how to work together in a group. I solved a community-based problem using internal and external resources. I presented to an audience of however many technical findings, right? They're learning these skills that they can now take and they can apply that can help them in any number of ways. For an opportunity that, kind of gets you out of class for a few minutes, right? Because the deal is that the teacher who runs capstone runs it during her planning, and so students will come during that time to meet with her. Similar to the AHA programs, right? So similar to the way that AHA is run is that you hold off class for just a little while at a certain increment to work on the project. Yeah.
Are you taking more projects?
Absolutely. Yep. We won't turn any projects away. What we did this year, because we had those 6 lined up for this past year, but we couldn't do them all for the pilot, I just reached out to everyone and said, can we bump it to the fall? Are you okay with a longer capstone that starts then? And actually many of them were happy because they would have more time to work with the students. We were quite compressed in the spring with all the snow. Yeah, Jim.
So I'll add to one of the things that I think was really cool for the students with the capstone was I sat down and showed them a little bit about the audiences, right? Like who this can reach on the other side. So we're going to people that are engaged with tech and things like that. And I think it was really cool for the students because when they heard it, they said, oh man, this is like the big leagues, right? Like I'm stepping out of my regular public school system. I have people outside here that see my work. So that was really cool too. I think it's very inspiring for them to know that we're getting broader audiences for their work, what they're putting in. It's being great, right? So it's kind of crazy. Usually they cringe away from that. Oh my God, I'm being tested. They were all doing hell with that. So it was really cool.
Yeah, and then we've had great support from the high school. They see this as value added, as does the superintendent, and they're willing to support it in any way that they can. So as far as the school environment, we have everything that we need to make it happen.
Is the governor's school involved, or is the community college involved?
So not right now, but there are talks to include it in the future. Yeah, for sure. And if it's something that they wanted, the governor's school wanted to have, we can make it happen instantly. Yep, for sure. And those are the types of, when I originally talked to the governor's school at the beginning of STEM Next Door, they're like, we don't really know what it is and what can you do, right? There was a lot of, can you really do that? And hopefully we show we can do it. And the community is here for it. And so hopefully the governor's school will be a little bit more apt and want to do it as we move forward. Yeah, but those connections are helpful if you have people that you can help introduce us and say, I heard about this program and I think it would be a good fit. That helps us better communicate. Otherwise, we're just an email, in their inbox that may or may not ever get answered. So, yeah. All right. Any other questions or comments? I have a handout on capstone so that you can see more. If you just want to take one and pass it around. If you don't want one, that's okay. You don't have to take one. But if you wanted to read about it and kind of see this is what it takes to be a sponsor, share it with someone you think might want to sponsor, that would be wonderful. And then you have about 2 minutes before you're going to go to curriculum where we just were. So you're going to go to the blue balloons, but you're lucky because the snacks are right there. So I'm going to let you go in order to go get a snack. right, thank you very much for coming, and I'll see you guys again at the end. Marty, it's good to see you. Thank you for coming today.
I'll make this quick because as you saw from the last rotation, everybody had so much fun building. I'll try to take as little time as possible talking. But in this rotation, what I'm just going to share with you is the enrichment program, right? Cindy talks about three things: the capstone, the curriculum, and the enrichment. So the enrichment is the out-of-school activities that the middle school kids get to do after school, right? So they take the bus from middle school, they come over here, where they come into this room to do the after-school activity. So we have three types of enrichment. We have the Arduino, which is basically a microprocessor. It gives the kids an introduction to electrical engineering. It's really easy. The CAD, computer-aided design and 3D printing. So 3D printing is additive manufacturing. It's a little more mechanical engineering. And then engineering construction, which is what you have in front of you today. So those three enrichment programs is what we offer. VTR provides all the materials and the curriculum, and then supports the teachers virtually. And we hold 9-week sessions. So each session, they get to come in for 9 weeks, and they kind of do each activity. So this is what a general agenda looks like. So they'll come in, at 4 o'clock. We'll show them a short video just to kind of explore the topic for today. They get the activity or the challenge, which is what I'm going to present to you all. Then they work on it together as a group or individually, in really encouraging collaboration and sharing. Then they wrap up, really being accountable for their space, and they clean up, and then they're out of here by 5:45. So I'll just really quickly review the three enrichments. Arduinos, right? It's a real, really great elementary foundation for electronics. It's a microprocessor. They get to learn about electrical engineering, how to wire things up, how to get light-emitting diodes or LEDs to work, kind of intro to electricity, resistance, and kind of how to build circuits. So it's a real easy way to ease into it and kind of take away the scariness that comes with electrical engineering. CAD and 3D printing. Again, the Discovery Center has its own 3D printers, so we're able to leverage those. The kids really love this. Of all the sessions that we've had, they were quickly filled up with the kids coming in here. So on the table is an example of a 3D printed catapult. Kind of a really fun project. So there are a lot of models on the internet where you can download and just go to print. But then the kids can also modify those designs to kind of make it their own. You can really use this to kind of solve problems, right, today. And then what we're doing today, the engineering construction. So kind of an intro to building construction, weight bearing forces. There are pulleys and cables in this kit. So we're just going to build a bridge today, but you can see by looking at the kit all endless possibilities of what you can build. So the activity that you all are going to do per table, right? You're challenged to build a bridge. It needs to be 12 pitches. So a pitch is just a unit of measure of a cube. 12 pitches long, 2 pitches wide, 5 pitches off the tabletop, and it needs to support 4 of these textbooks. We'll just place the textbooks on top, make sure that your bridge is structurally sound. So amongst the table, you'll have to figure out how you're going to work together, get your ideas across, collaborate, problem solve, a lot of teamwork and critical thinking. So the way you're graded, this is, I will give you all a scorecard. You're going to grade your own work, right? You start off with 100 points, then you deduct 2 points for each physical component you use, 2 points for every plate you use, 1 point deduction for every connector you use. So really, this is the part of optimizing your design. It's not just about building something that works, it's building something that's sustainable, right? Maximize your return on investment so you're not wasting pieces. So I'm going to trust you to grade your own work. The last team's high score was a 90. So your task is to beat a 90. It was a 90 and I think it was a 72 was the range. So I'm sure you all can do better than that, right? So On the table is a pry bar. It's kind of like a screwdriver slash pry bar. Here's how you use it. So that's how you take your pieces apart. Any questions? Yeah, this is what the kids do. I'm confident you all can do it. So again, here's your challenge. Team, go. I'll give you a 5-minute warning before we have to wrap up.
Oh yeah, two of the chest.
But then you lose points.
So I'm Hannah Scherer. I am a faculty member at Virginia Tech, and I had the pleasure of being the lead of the sub-award to Virginia Tech that really allowed us to do a lot of the curriculum work, along with a great team of folks at Tech and a collaboration with the teachers at Covington Middle School. So I want to give you kind of an overview of the process that we went through and some highlights about what was unique about what we did. And then if the teachers want to add anything, we've got a couple in the room. And then we can just have a conversation about questions, anything else that you all are interested in hearing more about. So a couple things to highlight that kind of draw on some things that Cindy mentioned in her introduction. You might be thinking, like, why do we need to put so much work into developing new curriculum when there's textbooks, there's things online, there's resources everywhere, right? We know that especially in rural education, often standardized curricula that exist are not really responsive to the lived experiences of people that live in rural communities. And so that was one of the things that we really wanted to counteract with this project. I was able to collaborate with my colleague, Amy Azana, who's the director of the Center for Rural Education at Virginia Tech. That's really her expertise, and so we really wanted to have place-based curriculum that was really responsive to the assets and strengths within Covington and the Alleghany Highlands that really connected to the curriculum in intentional ways. So we can't do that in a cookie-cutter way, right? We have to do that in collaboration with communities. So that was really important to our process. The other piece that was really important was teacher collaboration. They have the expertise about what their students need, what areas of their curriculum could use some work. They could have built this whole curriculum if they had time. They don't, right? So what we really wanted to do was take their ideas, their needs, in collaboration with thinking about the community that they teach in, and then take the burden of designing new lessons off of them and really build that out for them. So we did that through kind of an iterative process where we started meeting on Zoom, I guess last spring. We had a couple sessions where we had set out with this idea of connecting to agriculture and Wiley's Garden Center kind of as a starting point for the focus. We had the whole science department and then Sylvie, who's the sole ag teacher in the program, so that was another goal. Once we saw who was all the teachers that were in the program, we really wanted to articulate across all of those. And since we had the whole science department, we were able to kind of build from 6th through 8th and then support connecting to the agricultural competencies across all those grade levels. So we spent several times just kind of talking about, like, where would this fit in your curriculum? What ideas do you have? What challenges do you have in your curriculum? What standards are like boring and you wish we could do more with? Those kind of conversations, we came out of that with those conversations with kind of a framework of unit topics and what standards and like chunks of standards that we wanted to connect to. And then as part of that field trip to Virginia Tech, we did lots of fun things, but then we also spent some time with our subject matter experts and my graduate student, Kayla Harris, who actually built out the curriculum. And we really talked through, like, okay, for pH, like, what can we do here? How do we connect pH to this idea of agriculture? And that's really, we also kind of broaden it out to water quality, especially after I visited here a year ago and realized how central the river is here, right? That's such an important thing. So that was really our two foci for the curriculum. But we really spent a lot of time mapping out, like, okay, for this SOL, this is one that kids struggle with. How can we contextualize that? And so we left those sessions with kind of marching orders for my graduate student to then build out those units, build out those activity guides in preparation for August. And then we had some more Zoom sessions with the teachers to say, okay, let's like get the 7th grade science teachers together. Let's look at those, what unit is coming up. Let's look at that. How can we support you? Are there things that could be better built out or additional resources? So we tried to kind of have some sessions as the topics were coming up across the school year to make sure the teachers were ready and responsive. We also, and you heard there was a lot of snow days, but we also didn't want it to be prescriptive and have the teachers feel like, oh, they have to teach all of, like, we ended up with 12 units, which is a lot. We didn't want it to be, no, you have to teach all of these things. We really wanted them to pick and choose and pick which things made sense for them to start with, and now they have this suite of resources that they can continue to build into the curriculum. So that's kind of the process that we went through, really leveraging the expertise of the teachers, the expertise of our subject matter experts, and then Amy and I kind of as process pedagogy people to kind of pull it all together. So anything you all want to add about that process?
I think for me, we struggle a lot with motivation with the kids because every time we teach something, it's like, well, I'm never going to use this. Why are we doing this? And then once they saw it, when we went to the water treatment plant, that was phenomenal. When they saw that they're learning something that they could get a job, and actually if they stayed in this area, could work in this area and apply it, that just raised the bar.
Yes.
Then you had you had the buy-in. We didn't get those questions anymore.
I think when they came to us initially, we were like, oh, here we go. But sorry. Here we go. But then once we spoke with them and we did go to tech and they were taking our ideas and then making these lessons, that made it a whole lot easier. And did we use them all? No, because it was so it was a plethora of information. It was hard to use all of it. For us, we did 8th grade, so we did the water, we did pH, was there some acids and bases, I mean, what? I can't remember now. You block it out during the summer, but anyway.
It's a lot to reflect on the school year. And we're almost in July, but it feels like it just finished. And that water treatment thing, I mean, I remember when we were like in that room, right, and we were talking about things, I think we started talking about water, and somebody was like, what if we go to the water treatment plant, right? And so then that's where like Cindy went back to the advisory room, was like, can we make this happen? And then once we knew that was gonna happen, then Kayla built out those lessons that support that, and we're able to, and like Cindy mentioned, right, the 6th graders and the 8th graders went, but they learned different things tied to those different classes. So that's a good example of like that collaborative ideation that then led to a really powerful experience for students. And that's something that hopefully we can continue to connect to other industries and other places that kids can go. What questions can I answer for you, or things that I touched on that you would like me to speak about a little bit more?
How do you guys refine curriculum year as technology updates to keep it relevant for students? And if like a new industry, for example, I just wanted to talk about the paper mill. If they were to come in and be involved, how do you refine the curriculum without blowing it up to have to start over?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I think that'll be something. I think what we figured out this year was really the process of collaboration with the teachers, ideation, and how to kind of build that out with these kind of with the connections to the curriculum. And so I think with that process, we could go through that process again, maybe thinking about what is the content area that really connects the most with like the water treatment plant or with the paper mill, or is it like, do we want to add that to the science curriculum? I think that's a collaboration with the schools, right? Where do we see that plugging in? But I think the process that we've developed and has worked really well to then have quality products. And it may be that there's a particular
a particular grade where it fits well, right? It might not need to be across all 3 grades, but maybe there's, I would imagine there's some really good chemistry going on there, right? That maybe in that 6th grade or 8th grade that really connects with. So it would be, I think, a similar process and adding, and again, not saying like, okay, you have to throw out everything else, but here's another option. Or over time, maybe teachers can choose, like, okay, this year we're gonna do the water treatment curriculum. Next year we're gonna do the paper mill, right? So I think to have a suite of options would be great.
But you asked us, like, you remember we were at the wall and you asked us what the students had trouble with.
Yeah.
And what could you guys do to help? So that was nice because there's no way you can cover everything and do everything. It's not gonna work. But what do they have struggles with and how does it relate to our community? And that's how we, writing it down and collaborating that way, I think helped. So it was added to what we already do. It wasn't anything extra. And they liked it, so.
Has there been any, impact to, standardized testing scores and stuff with this, or is it still too early?
It's too early because they would have they just finished the school year and this is the first year we've done it, but.
It is middle school, and in middle school, they
Yeah.
really don't care because
Yeah.
it doesn't affect their life.
Right.
They think it affects the teachers.
Yeah.
Well, for science, the science SOL in middle school
Is
6, 7, and 8.
Right, they take it up
and 3 years of it to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the hands-on learning is much better. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
somebody somewhere is going to want to see, all the scores coming in for testing.
Well, they just need to really be project-based, I
That's-
think,
yeah.
in science, to be honest with you, but that's not in the State Department.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
I'm getting the nod that we're wrapping up. Well, she's going to tell the other groups. My other question was.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. All right, you guys had fun in enrichment building a bridge? Yeah. That's pretty cool, right? All right, so those rotations were just designed to give you more information and let you get a glimpse into what our students do. That enrichment, the engineering and construction, that's our newest enrichment program. We built out the entire curriculum and all of the supplies are here in the Discovery Center. So starting in August, we'll be able to offer that after-school enrichment once a week for students to come in after school. As you learned in the group, they take buses from CMS over here and they're able to participate for about an hour and a half or so, and then they head on home for the afternoon. Every enrichment program has 2 sessions. It's an intro and then a creative design process. So you did part of the intro for bridge building. We obviously have lessons before we get to the bridge building that teach them about the different parts and how to use them and the tool and all of that. But I thought it might be fun for you to get to do more than just listen to Cindy talk all morning. But now you get to listen again. So when we look at STEM next door and I say this year we do this and next year we do that, what does that actually mean? I envision a 3-year process. And here is why, because I do love Covington. I am drawn to this community and I think it is incredible. But you do not want me staying here because I want it to be sustainable for you. You don't need to pay BTR to come in every year and help you do something your community is fully capable of doing on your own. My goal is to empower you to do that and build a system that is sustainable so that it will become a part of your ecosystem and it will just grow in and of itself. And I will come by to say hi, but you don't actually need me here to do more work. Okay, so year 1 was our pilot. Will this even work? My goal was to prove to Mary and to the rest of the Alleghany Foundation that what you saw on that paper could actually happen. Did I know for sure? No. But, as my kids used to say when they were little, I had a lot of hope, faith, and pixie dust, and here we are. So, we took the lead, BTR took the lead in partnership with Virginia Tech, who helped us do the curriculum, and everyone in the Alleghany Highlands was a supporter for us for year 1. To which, again, we are eternally grateful, and I want to say thank you to everyone who took part of STEM next year in year 1. In year 2, the goal is to build on that curriculum. We've been in talks with Covington Middle School, and they would really like us to build out math curriculum. The SOL scores in math are dropping, and they need help. And they said, we saw what you did in science, can you help us with math? So year 2 would have us building out additional curriculum for the middle school, adding a little bit more enrichment, and really working with the staff that ran year 1 so that it can be a full part of their regular offerings. Okay, so we're working a little bit more in partnership, still developing a little, but Alleghany Highlands is taking a little bit more ownership, and it's continuing in the middle school, and the enrichment continues. In year 3, the goal is that everything from year 1 is now part of your normal system. And then year 2, we're building that sustainability, and we're here as just a support system. Anything that you need, anything we can do to help, but you were able to roll that into your normal offerings. Will that absolutely happen by year 3? We don't know, but that's the goal. And my point is simply to say, it is not intended for us to stay here forever, right? I want this to be yours, for you to own it. And I want you to be a model for other rural communities across the state to say, look what they did, we can do it too. Okay? Because you have the passion and the grit that I have not seen anywhere else. I'm going to say that 100 times today. I am blown away. And if anyone can do it, you guys can do it. Okay, so I mentioned year 2. Year 2 has new math curriculum. It has drones and fluid dynamics as our enrichment. Drones used to be here in Alleghany Highlands, and there's a lot of opportunity with Virginia Tech and drones, and we want to bring drones back so your students know what it is. So when we can bridge that opportunity and those things with Virginia Tech, they can come here to the Alleghany Highlands to do more testing and more research. And then we want to add a career awareness and workforce development component, and here's why. We have a lot of information that says students go to jobs that they can see themselves in, but if they can't see it and they don't know that it's there, they're not going to pick it. When you ask a 17-year-old to pick a college major and commit to for the rest of their life, look, I was good at chemistry. Okay, I'll be a chemistry major. I had no idea what that meant and what I was going to do, but I was good at it and it was less work, so I might as well major in that, right? Lucky for me, it happened to be STEM, because now here I am doing STEM. But, I mean, it could have been art. I'm terrible at art, but maybe it could have been something else. What I want your students here to see is opportunities. So we have a company called Start Engineering, and they make career awareness guides. And they talk all about biotechnology, cybersecurity, computer science, math, engineering. And they have agreed in year 2 to help partner with us and to make local guides. So they're going to take their guides and they're going to connect it to the Alleghany Highlands and to the greater southwestern Virginia area. They will identify companies, schools, pathways to get into careers. Whether you go into a 2-year college or 4-year college, or you go directly into the industry, they will highlight pathways relevant to the students in the Alleghany Highlands so they can see exactly what it would take. If I like to do this, oh, that's all that I have to do. And you know what, if I need a scholarship, here's places for me to look first to get that access. So they've committed to helping us with that. So that's a new element that we didn't have before. It'll be available, all of their career guides are available online, and they will give us access to their full platform, including an engineering design and invent program they have for elementary schools. You haven't heard us talk about elementary. That's not to say there isn't opportunity. So we do have some career stuff for them as well. And then you'll see the advisory committee now spans across all 5. That advisory committee is the lifeline of this program, and so hopefully many, if not all of our members from year 1 will continue, but we would welcome new input on the committee as well. So if that's something that you're interested in, you'd work with me once a month, and we would talk about some great ideas and see what we could make happen. Both part of STEM Next Door, and the advisory committee has done many things outside of STEM Next Door. Just because we have the ability to make that happen, we do whatever we can. So, here comes the part. How can you help? You knew I was going to tell you this at some point today. So being here was the first thing. Learning and finding out more was the most important thing. Because if you're aware of it, now you know when you hear it, and you can be a part of that conversation. So I'm going to ask you 3 things. Invest, engage, and share. And by invest, I don't necessarily mean your money. We have a lot of time and talents that you can volunteer. You can offer your knowledge. You can offer your ideas, you can offer your creativity, you can volunteer. If you have a corporation that you want to sponsor STEM Next Door and help invest in STEM Next Door, if you want to support different enrichment programs, if you want to help provide things for the school to do more STEM in the classrooms, any of those things. But it's not about money by itself, right? This program, if money was the solution, we could throw money at it, it wouldn't make it be what it is. You guys are what makes it what it is. Okay, and then engage. Participate in events like today. So check mark, you guys all did that today. Gold stars for everybody for today. Encourage partnerships. If you know someone who might be a great partner, or you know someone at a company that would be a great partner, help make those introductions, because we can only do what we can do when we meet people, when we have those conversations. And if I don't know them, I don't know to talk to them about STEM next door. Okay, so that's how I would like for you to engage. And then I want you to share things like the STEM camp that starts tomorrow that still has spaces available. The flyers are up here, feel free to take one. Anyone 8th grade and above, but if you have a rising 7th grader, we will not turn them away. So share the opportunities, share the events, share everything you can about STEM next door so people are on the same page. Talk to parents, talk to students, tell them about enrichment, tell them what's happening in the classrooms so that we can create this as part of the conversation and move us forward. That's the goal, right? I don't think those are too big of asks. Seems like a small ask, maybe, right? I think everyone here can pick at least one of those things to do. And now it's your chance to ask questions. If you have any, I know you got to ask in the breakout rooms. I want to give you an opportunity. There's a lot of teachers in here, a lot of people who have helped support and sponsor these programs. This is a platform, if you have a question, you have only a few minutes to keep you on track for your time, but that I wanted to give you if you had something you needed to know in this public forum. Does anybody have any questions? You forgot I taught high school. I can sit here all day.
They had the new deck at Alleghany at one point in time. I don't think it's functioning right now. Is there any way this could work with that? The foundation invested heavily in that also. And also, could it be done during the school day, integrated into the classroom instead of moving students over here in the afternoon?
So the reason we don't do that during the school day is because that instruction time is critical for them to achieve all of their standards of learning. If we could fit it in, we would. Those resources are available. If there were opportunities to build it into the curriculum, those resources, the materials themselves, could be brought over to the school for them to use. But another key feature of why we moved it to the Discovery Center is to create a STEM hub for your community, a place where there's creativity and inspiration. You can see the past and how we can lead into the future. We want to bridge that gap. That's one of the reasons we brought it here. We'd love to see more people coming through the Discovery Center. The ultimate goal is field trips that can come to the Discovery Center, summer camps, after-school activities. So it would take a lot of work with the school to build that enrichment into the day. I'm worried about those hours of learning, especially with the 500 snow days we have in the Alleghany Highlands. But it's not impossible, right? So I don't want to say no, but it seems to lend itself better to take it outside. And the school asked, how can we use enrichment and tie that to attendance? And the deal is that you have to come to school to get to come to enrichment at the end of the day, and it is working. Students come to school because they want to come do their 3D printing. The teacher who does enrichment said during the day she had kids who would want to play on their phones or they would want to do whatever, and now they say, can I do more 3D design? Can I work on the things for enrichment class? So it's helping to bridge that a little bit. Yeah. Are there any other questions? See, that wasn't so bad. Right, you could ask a question. Okay, so I don't want to put anybody on the spot. So I will say that if you signed up today on your way in, if you didn't have a printed name tag, make sure you signed up on this sheet on the way in with your email address, and I will send you our presentation from today and copies of the handouts. And that way you also have my email and contact information if you want to get involved, if you want to be a part, if you have ideas, comments, suggestions, critiques, that's okay too. Anything you have or you want to share, you're welcome to do. I'm open to hearing anything that you have to say or how we might want a partnership in any way. Otherwise, please enjoy the snacks that are here. If you have a few minutes, please look upstairs at the Discovery Center as well. There's a whole 3D printing lab above us right here. The printers you saw in the picture, there's a paper space up there. It's just a place really worth giving a few minutes to check it out and remember what it feels like to be a kid. And then go tell some kids so they can come over here and do it for themselves too. So, all right, thank you all so much for coming today.